Valentine's Day. I suppose it's time to get mushy, innit? Hey guys, how you doing? My name is CODENAMEBIGBEAR, Stuart, if you want to call me by my first name. Today we're going to be talking about romance options in video games, or games that have romance options that are just really good and worth playing. Because, well, some of you out there don't enjoy Valentine's Day and some of you do. So we may as well have a little mix of both, eh? I'm not really too sure where to start, to be honest. Okay, so let's do one that's kind of a mix of both. The first game I'm going to talk about is Fable II. Fable 2 is actually probably my favourite game in the Fable series, and you get like options to, throughout the game to play as evil or bad, but the romance options are always just kind of, always have me in stitches. They're always just really funny, because you can pretty much, anybody that you come across in-game, you can decide to flirt with and marry and have a family with. But you can also do this with other people in other towns at the same time. So you can be a multiple bigamist if you really want to be. And how you kind of romance the people in the games is, well, you got to find a favourite thing. For instance, you might find a woman in the main square of Albion, and she might find farts hilarious, and you just stand there and fart in front of her over and over and over and over and over again until a big old heart pops up over her head. And then you take her to your house, and you do all the things, and you eventually get married, and you can have children within the game, which is always a little bit of fun. But you can also do this at the same time with somebody else in another town, and you can be, well, depending on your character in game, you can be really nice and loving and repeat and go see the other family and the main family, or you can have a side family and just be one of those people. It's up to you. And it's quite fun. Also, Fable 2 is just generally a great game anyway. It's really fun and just worth play if you can play it, and you should be able to play it on Xbox One or Xbox One Series X. Let's keep the subject of infidelity going on a little bit here, and that's a weird thing to start with a Valentine's Day video. I know, I'm sorry. But let's talk about Catherine. This is a weird game. It's really cool. It was really, really weird. So, I can't remember the main guy's name, but it's been ages since I played it, to be honest. But you are playing this main character who is going out with Catherine, who wants to start a family, who wants to get married, who wants to basically spend the rest of her life with your main character. And you end up going to a bar, and you wake up in the bed of a different Catherine. Now, this Catherine has got blonde hair and curlies, and there is another Catherine if you play the recent re-release. There's 3 Catherines to deal with, but this is Catherine with a C, and you have Catherine with a K. And basically, your character is kind of you've got to control this guy, trying his best to either avoid having an affair or really just going into it and kind of wanting to see what's going on. But then when he dreams, he's also got to deal with mad things that are chasing him. So for instance, one of the first bosses you have is a giant baby chasing you up this kind of tower of blocks. You've got to shift these blocks out of the way and hop up and get out of the way, and you've got to save sheep on the way, and you've got to use a pillow to fight your way up there. It's a bizarre game. Hopefully the footage is giving you some kind of idea of what's going on here, but it's a really bizarre game. But it is, if you want a game to test romance things throughout, then that's probably a decent game to go for. Like I said, at one point your character sat at a bar, and you'll get a text message from the second Catherine in your life, and it's one of those naughty bitches. And you got to go to the bathroom to look at it if that's the way you're inclined. Or you can choose to completely ignore it and go, well, no, I'm going to go see the one I'm supposed to be with at the beginning of the game, and why not keep going down that way? And you've got these options as well throughout, and you can either choose to lie, and these lies have a different outcome when it comes to the end of your puzzle levels. These puzzles are devious, by the way. They're so flipping hard. But anyway, let's stop talking about Catherine. Let's go to a different game. The next game I'm going to talk about is actually a series of games. It's a trilogy of games, and it's touted as probably one of the best trilogy of games there's ever been. And there was an ending on this game which people did not enjoy. Famously did not enjoy. I personally didn't really care. I thought it was a decent ending. If you read all the logs and read everything else that's in there, well, it's fine. But I'm not going to talk about that. That's not what I'm talking about. The game I'm talking about is Mass Effect, or the Mass Effect trilogy. In each of these games, you can carry on your previous save to the next game, and that means you can carry on your characters, you can carry on relationships throughout the series as much as you want. You can fall in love with one character, and the next game you can, well, in the second game, you can try and rebuild that love with them again. Let's say, for instance, like Caden, you might be playing as Fem Shep, and you want Caden to love you, or you can play as Male Shep. Doesn't really matter, I don't think. I've never really tried to do the same-sex thing in Mass Effect, but yeah, I know that if you fall in love with Caden, you can try and fall in love with him again and keep it going throughout the third game as well, or you can just kind of hump your way through space. It's really up to you. But Mass Effect is a really amazing series of games. Besides that ending that people did complain about, which is kind of I want to say patched, but it might have been lazily patched. Again, I have no real opinions on it. The game itself, is getting re-released soon and definitely worth checking out. But it's been known as a space opera. So it's got amazing RPG elements throughout the entire game. You can build on these characters, you can really build on these relationships. Everything you do in the game has an effect on something else that might happen in a later game or later on in the game. So you might end up saving a citadel one way, but that could have a cause and effect throughout the next game, for instance. And with the romance things, you've got just so many different options for yourself. You have Freddie Prinze Jr., you have that lady that was on IGN. You have Blue Lady, you have Green Guy, you have Human Guy, you have Human Lady, who you can choose to kill one of those two. Personally, I killed Ashley because, well, she killed Rex. So there's lots of options there for you when it comes to Mass Effect. It's definitely a game worth checking out. If you haven't played it before, play it now, and I think it's going to be more available to people that are on PlayStation and Xbox, because it was originally an Xbox exclusive. But no news on it's coming to Switch. I doubt it's going to be honest. Now, these next couple of games I'm going to be talking about, I haven't really played much of myself, or I haven't played at all. So yeah, I've been kind of given notes from the guys at Respawning just to talk about, because the games that they really love and they think there's good romance options to talk about in a video like this. The next game I'm going to talk about is Persona 5. Never played this game at all in my life, so I'm just going to read off a few notes of reasons why you actually want to play this game and why the romance options are there for you, and if that's what you're looking for. Persona 5 is a JRPG. It is a really long game. It's almost like a life simulator. This is, again, these are notes from Luke. This is like a life simulator, and it has just kind of the best art style throughout any game he's ever seen. And to be fair, I'm not going to disagree with him. The art style of that game looks pretty amazing. But when it comes to that life simulator style of game, you can romance all sorts of people throughout the entire game. For instance, here Luke romanced his doctor, and it got to a point that every time he went to an appointment to see his doctor within game, they ended up doing the dirty, and and that just seems really wrong. But it's fine. It's what your character is going to do, and that's what you made your character do, and that's one of the options you can. Another option you can do, which kind of takes points away from Persona 5, in the Western world at least anyway, because obviously this game is very Japanese and it's made in Japan, therefore they have Japanese laws. But you can romance a character known as Futaba, who is about 14 or 15 years old, and personally I wouldn't recommend you do that, especially if you live in the West. It kind of didn't translate over here that well. But another thing obviously about this game is it's you can play about 500 hours in this game. A friend of mine actually played about 400 hours before he even completed the story, and it's just like, say, life simulator. You can go throughout your life in school, you can make all these friends, and you can have all these kind of relationships with characters, as well as this badass style of action and gameplay. Now, personally, again, this is a game that I'm probably not going to play, and this is a game that sounds too long for me and too distracting. Even though in a video recently I said I spent about 120 hours in Legend of Zelda, I am pretty much going to kill the final boss and then not play it again for about a year or so. So a game that goes on for up to 200 hours, 400 hours, it's just not for me. But might be a game worth you checking out. Ooh, I enjoy this one. This is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now, I was a huge fan of Origins, loved Origins, that was an amazing game, but Odyssey, you know, has been by the rest of the respawning group that's played it, is a much better game. And at the moment, I don't quite see it, but that's purely because I haven't played it as long as I have Odyssey. Now, again, these are notes from Luke. This guy, oh, he loves this game. He absolutely loves it. He really does. But Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you play as Alexios or Cassandra, which is who I picked as, and you are a mercenary within Greece, and you got to, I'm up to the point where I'm hunting down my father. Yes, I'm hunting down my father in game, and yeah, I'm kind of getting my way through there. But the romance options apparently are quite vast. You meet many characters throughout the game, and there's just tons of NPCs to look at and talk to, and you can have relationships with as well. And according to Luke and Javier, you can screw your way through Greece with anybody that your character desires. And if you've got the option, they just say just do it because it's really funny, and also the fact that your character can do that. Why not? You know, not only that, this game actually has amazing combat, has some really cool missions, it has some great stealth moments because, well, it's Assassin's Creed. But the only thing I have a downfall about these new Assassin's Creed games is you just don't feel like an assassin anymore. These games stop being assassin games. Now they just kind of like run around and kill things. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is set in Greece, and it's set around a lot of the Greek mythology. You know, you have one of the first things you can do in this game is climb up a statue of Zeus. Absolutely did that because a certain distance, so I did. You can pretty much run anywhere you want. If you can see it, you can get to it. For the first bit, maybe not so much. You have to unlock the rest of the world to do that. But once you're in the main world, if you see it, you can get to it, and you can, well, probably die pretty quickly because you get some higher level characters coming along. You have these amazing RPG elements, and like I say, you have these romance options that will keep you going as well. If you want to pursue one and keep it throughout the entire game, you can do that. If you want to just go and, well, just do everybody in sight, you can probably do that too. I'm going to throw him under the bus here because I've got it on my notes just there as well. But Luke says, Valhalla is not better than Odyssey. There, he said it. He's just throwing it out there. He thinks Odyssey is the best Assassin's Creed game there has ever been. And this guy has played them all, as far as I know. So, I mean, he might be right. I don't know. I do have a code for Valhalla, but sadly my PS4 died, so I haven't been able to play it. So that's fun. But I want to get it sorted out. I will eventually play it, and I've also got to finish Odyssey yet anyway. So guys, there are a few games there that might give you some options to play on this Valentine's Day. Yeah, if you enjoy Valentine's Day, brilliant. Yeah, you can play this with some loved ones. Most of these are single player though, so probably not a good idea. But if you are that kind of person who doesn't like Valentine's Day and you want to, you know, just play something to distract you from it, then these games might be an option for you, because let's face it, none of these are really that romantic. But if you enjoyed this video and you want to make comments on it, you disagree with me, you don't want to disagree with me, you think I've missed something out, again, comment below. The links are below everything else as well to find videos from us at Respawning. But guys, you know, have yourself a great day, and don't forget to be nice to each other.